Hi there, Becky here from 168 Fitness. Last week I kicked off my how to run 5k before Easter advice. It was quite a long video, but that's really because I am super passionate about helping people to start running. So I've got loads of top tips and advice and information to give you. So sometimes I just get a little bit carried away, but I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet this week and to the point. Hopefully you did already make a start with the homework that I set. If you didn't, then you've got to go back to week one and start at the beginning, because there's a few things you'll need to think about before you actually even step foot out the door. But also that first session is probably the most important, because that's what we're going to build on each and every week. So if you didn't, then I'll put the link in below the video so you can watch it and get started with week one. And then today, week two, I'm going to build on that first week. So hopefully you did get started and you did that first session, and hopefully as well you did that second session, because what we want to do is try and get you in a really good consistent routine that you can sustain between now and Easter, which is about 6 weeks away, I think, if I've got my timings right, but somewhere around there, sort of early springtime. So we want you to get started now and then just be building up every week. So if you did 2 sessions last week, then that is exactly what I want you to do this week. If you did 1 session last week, ideally let's try and get you up to 2 this week. But if you're really thinking that 1 is your limit, you haven't got any spare time and you do other stuff, maybe go to the gym or do classes or whatever, then as long as you're consistent with that 1 session a week and you don't do sort of one week and then 5 the next and then 3 the next and 2 and then none and whatever, then just be consistent and stick with 1 each week. That's absolutely fine, because you will still see the benefits and feel the benefits, but you've just got to be consistent. So ideally, even if you're not doing anything else, or even if you're not doing anything else, then 2 sessions a week would be a good amount to do. If you wanted to push that to 3 and you spread them out enough, because it's just as you're getting into it, the body will be a bit of a shock maybe for the body to start with, some aches and some pains in places, and you might feel a bit tired, but once you get into it and you can build on it gradually and you're just being sustainable and consistent, then 3 sessions a week would also be good. But we just need to make sure that that's right for you. So think about whether or not it is, and go from there and just decide. So let's say roughly for 2 sessions a week, if you did that last week especially, and we're going to build on what you did last week. So I talked about how there's going to be a range of that first time run. I said just see how long you can run for non-stop. There's going to be a range of times and durations for first time runners. So you might have run for 1 minute non-stop, and I did say if you were running for sort of less than 5 minutes, then maybe try and repeat it if you can, so that you've got a bit more running time under your belt, rather than just sort of doing 1 minute and then turning around, coming back and going home. But whatever works for you. I would recommend doing some repeat intervals, but just whatever works for you. And then I said there might be some of you that have just had a bit of time off from running, that you're just getting back into it, and actually you could probably still run 20 minutes non-stop or something like that, 15-20 minutes, and that's fantastic. No matter where you started, well done for getting started, because it is honestly the hardest part is getting started, because there's so many things that you could easily just put it off and never do it, and so many people do, and so you should feel really proud for actually getting started. But then the next important step is to keep going, because especially if you found that really hard, we need to make sure that you keep going so that it does get easier, but that's because you will get fitter, so then it feels easier. But I'm going to keep pushing you and progressing, so I can't guarantee it will ever feel completely easy, but it should feel a little bit more manageable, and hopefully you'll enjoy it as well. So I said I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Hopefully I'll get to the point at some point. So yes, this week what I want you to do is to build on last week. So if you were running for, let's say for example, 1 minute non-stop, I want you to double that. I want you to try and run for 2 minutes non-stop. So I'm not asking too much. I just want you to be able to do 2 minutes and then repeat it a few times. So depending on what time you've got spare, if you've got 20 minutes, you may be going to be able to run for 2 minutes non-stop and then walk for a minute and then repeat it. So you'd be able to fit in, what's that, if that's 1 minute, so 3 minutes, that's probably about 6 or 7 2-minute intervals, that would be good. But somewhere around there, even if it's only 5, or if it's 2 minutes for the first few and then it's 1 minute for the last, it doesn't matter. But just repeating and building up that amount of time that you're running for in a session. So yeah, if you're currently running 1 minute, I want you to double it and try and run 2 minutes. If you were running for about 5 minutes non-stop, then you don't need to double it unless you feel like you can. But usually I would say aim for sort of maybe 7.5 minutes, something like that. You don't need to try and push it too much, because what I don't want you to do is get too carried away with it, but like put too much pressure on you. But you need to be able to sustain it. So I don't want you to go for it one day because you're thinking, yeah, I feel really up for it, and then the next time you do it you go, oh my god, I just can't do this again. Like, it's the psychological thing as well, that once you've gone up to 10 minutes, there's no going backwards. You can't then do a 5-minute run the next time, because, well, you can, but that's not the point of it. We want you to be going forward all the time. So yeah, just build up gradually, see what works for you. So 5 minutes, probably build up to about 7.5 minutes, but 10 if you're feeling good. If you felt like you kind of held yourself back on that 5 minutes the first time, then you could maybe push it to 10, but just see how you go with that one. And then if you were running for sort of 15-20 minutes, then try and add on a whole 5 minutes if you can do. So 15 minutes becomes 20 minutes, 20 minutes becomes 25. And because the longer you can run for, obviously that means you are that bit more fitter. That doesn't make sense, but you are that bit fitter than perhaps someone who can run for 1 minute non-stop. So that means you can jump a little bit more, because it's yeah, once you've got past the initial stages of sort of starting running, then it means you can just sort of improve a bit quicker, and you'll feel like it's not such a big jump, hopefully. But obviously if you need just a couple more runs at the same distance or same duration that you were running before, then that's absolutely fine, because as long as we're not going backwards, like I said, we are moving forward. So sustaining it, maintaining it is still progressing, because that is important too. So just look to progress it if we can. If we're trying to run that 5k before Easter, you're going to need to up it. So now's as good a time as any. But main thing is to be consistent as well. Couple of sessions a week. Keep it up, and then I will see you next week with some more advice on how to run your first 5k before Easter.